Good evening and welcome to Off the Lip, the show about surfing and skateboarding. If you'd like to join the show tonight, give us a call at 831-479-1080. That's 831-479-1080. And now, here are your hosts for tonight's program, Neil Pearlberg and Terry Campion.
Good evening and welcome to the Off the Lip radio show broadcasting from Santa Cruz, California. Listening right now on KSCO AM 1080. You can also watch the live stream at santacruzwaves.com. You can watch us live. God knows what is going to be said tonight. Hang on to your hats. Bear all, tell all. It's coming to you directly from VC's mouth. In studio tonight, one of Santa Cruz's most prominent surfing gentlemen. That's a stretch. Mr. Vince Collier. It's a little bit of a stretch, but
did you say gentle? You said gentleman.
I did. Yeah. I went gentleman. It's a first for everything.
Also, VC is a gentleman.
Yeah.
As long as you're on his good side.
Yeah, you better be on his good side.
I'm a gentleman to the people that really deserve it.
Anyway, in studio tonight, Mr. Vince Collier. There's a legend here in town. Also, actually, throughout the worldwide surfing community. Who knows what he's going to say? We've already had a show outside in the lobby there.
Well, you know what I will say is that what he speaks is for sure what's on his mind.
Very true.
There's no sugarcoating. There's no.
No, we're not going to have it. There's no Christmas lights.
Right.
No, there's no Christmas lights tonight. There's no angels. There's
been very consistent throughout his life.
Well,
it's just
don't have that ability.
We were unsure where to start, TC. So I think we're just going to get it out of the way.
Straight to
that's what they should have done to begin with.
Straight to Mavericks, the history, where it is right now, where it's been. It's just like it's been saturated.
Well, there's only probably less than a handful of people who have, more history at Mavericks than you, Vince, right?
Nobody.
Jeff discovered it, correct?
I don't know if he discovered it or he stumbled upon it, which is, discovering. You go look for something to discover it. If it's in your backyard and you walk into it, it's like a fence.
You found it?
Yeah, by accident. So, but, I guess he was the first guy.
Did he come to you and say, hey, VC, let's go?
No, actually, Tom Powers and Dave Schmidt did.
That's right.
They called me up and said, oh. And the funny thing is that summer I had gotten a 10-2 blank just for no reason that I had any reason to even have a board that big around here. And I made a board. So when I first went up there, everyone else is riding 8.6s or 8.2s or whatever. And they're not, you can't catch a wave out there really unless you're, Michael Ho or something.
And you had that board before you knew about Mavericks.
Yeah.
And you were riding that at the lane, torturing everybody.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Making lots of friends.
Well, that summer I was paddling it around, just trying to figure it out. And I rode on small waves just because, you want to get, used to something that you're going to ride in that big a surf.
Back then, that wave was a sport, and now it's a business. Correct?
Yeah, business is going out of business.
Why is it going out of business?
Well, I mean, they're not really honoring the wave itself because they're letting great days go by, especially this year that I've seen some of the most epic surf I've ever seen out there. And, this is after the opening day ceremony. And why don't they hold it? I have no idea. I mean, it's about the wave, right?
Right.
So if they're not doing that, if they're waiting around till March again, like they've done every year, and waiting for some windblown shitty swell. Excuse me.
Mm-hmm.
But it's really not fair to the wave.
And it seems to me, from my angle, that they've made it less on-site contest. So there's like less action. They're not building the city. They're not having the festival, which to me would give them the ability to set up and run a contest quicker.
For sure. It's kind of the wave kind of taking care of itself almost, not because if it was just kept building from the very beginning, where it would be right now if it was all successful and everything worked out, it would be something completely different than it is. And I think the wave would suffer as far as the surfing goes out there because of it. I mean, there was a lot of guys out there when I was watching it on the cam this year. A
Right.
lot of guys.
Yeah.
It's changed because now you got big corporate involved. Obviously, the women want to get involved. Everybody wants to get involved. Is the community getting involved about Half Moon Bay? Is the community being left out up there? I don't know.
On purpose, I think.
It'd be interesting if someone's listening from Half Moon Bay and had something to toss in on that to call in tonight, because I think that's an interesting thing that we have not really talked about on this show. Is how does Half Moon Bay feel about the contest? Now I know
I'm going to change that because I'm going to have the captain of the fire department, Half Moon Bay, who oversees everything, on the show.
Wow.
Well, you got to really realize Half Moon Bay isn't the same city it was before the contest.
Right.
It's completely changed. I mean, there's so much more
Money.
Yeah, I mean, it's like
I just play golf up there.
there's quite a bit of the businesses that basically have just showed up there because of Mavericks.
Yeah.
So they're kind of riding the coattails of the name of the place and the notoriety of it. And so I don't think at this point you'd have to talk to some people that were there before,
right.
as opposed to people who are either benefiting or who don't understand how it used to be.
Right. It kind of reminds me of like Squaw Valley. Like Squaw Valley was undiscovered.
Right.
And now it's a booming little city.
Right.
You kind of ruled back in the day. You ruled the lane, the west side, as it were. Do you think things would have been different if you had to be able to, I'm gonna say, rule Mavs?
Oh, I did while I was there.
You did.
Please believe it.
Okay. All right.
There's no doubt about it.
In what way?
I had a bigger board. I was catching waves. I would go out there the first year and catch 20 waves. And while everyone else is struggling to catch one or two.
Right. Because you had a bigger board.
I had a better board, bigger board, yeah. I had Richard Schmidt's templates I took off of his, Pat Rawson's. And so I was pretty well, into the big wave surfing thing already, going to Hawaii and doing it there.
Right. How different was Mavs for you compared to a big day at the lane, big day at Mavs?
Oh, there's no comparison,
None.
really. After you've surfed Mavericks, you come back to the lane, you just kind of like laugh at it. Not anymore. I know when I go out there now, I get beat up. But back in the day, I come back.
Comparison.
Yeah, well, for sure. I mean,
Well, fall on a big Mavericks wave, you're pretty much heading towards the rocks. Fall on a big middle peak wave, the chances of that happening are
well,
less.
you're not going to get rolled up into the rocks,
Right.
Unless you lose your board or something.
Or you're
It's not
going
really
left or
uptight.
something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's soft and it's not. It's kind of it looks treacherous and it is, but compared to Mavericks, it's a whole nother level. It's like NASCAR compared to
How do you feel, Vince, about the way it's been run right now? You got the Committee 5 and the Titans of Mavericks group. How do you feel about that? Are they doing justice to the wave?
Definitely not. Definitely not, because they've had a chance to run it in some of the most epic surf I've ever seen up there.
Yeah.
And for what reason, I have no idea. I mean, there's no good reason to not have had it.
That happened last year, too, on several occasions.
Well, it's happened quite a few years. I mean, those years that they didn't even run it, there was plenty of days they could have run it.
And you have an idea why it's not being run, don't
Well,
you?
I just know it's a big event with contracts, and contracts probably aren't signed, is my opinion. Whether it's the media contracts, maybe it's the sponsorship contracts, maybe it's the prize money's not in place yet. That's I just think they're not ready. And
for sure.
And whether I think the permit time is just a given. You get the permit for this much time. Whether they're ready at the beginning of the permit or not, I don't know for a fact. That's my speculation of why they didn't run it yet.
Shouldn't you be if you've had the opening ceremony or you have the opening ceremony, everything should be ready to go.
Well, I don't.
Right?
Have they started the prize money clock yet?
I have no idea.
I
You don't go to school and show up for the first day of class and
There's
the
no
teacher
teachers.
doesn't have any pencils or anything like that.
Right.
So it's like
Well, and there's commitments from the other surfers. They ran the Maui contest, and I don't know. I really don't know. I mean, maybe if somebody from
831.
a surfer needs to be in charge of it instead of somebody who's a advertising executive or something like that, because that's what it boils down to. Those guys are just all minions compared to who's really running the show, and that's the guys with the money.
Right. Money. I always say,
And it's not big enough money.
It's the golden rule. Who has the gold rules?
Yeah, exactly.
831-479-1080. You want to call in tonight and talk to Vince? Vince has got more to say when we come back, but right now we want to dedicate the show, forgot to say this at the beginning, to Cowboy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you want to say a few words about Cowboy before we go to commercial?
Yeah, I loved him. He was a really good friend of mine, and he was an epic figure in Northern California surfing world, and he was a hell of a guy, to say the least.
That's very cool. When we come back, I want to talk about the bone that you have.
Oh, okay.
Can we talk about that?
Well, you'd have to talk to my girlfriend.
We'll talk about that when we get back.
Please see you too much. Before we go to commercial, this portion of the show is brought to you by Lighthouse Bank, member FDIC, serving the community of Santa Cruz since 2007. They provide matching funds for donations made by all their employees and provide thousands of dollars in donations for local nonprofits throughout Santa Cruz County. Lighthouse Bank is ranked the 5th healthiest bank in the nation. TC,
That's incredible.
must have all your money down there.
That is
That's
incredible.
healthy.
You know what? That's an incredible statistic.
And they invite you to stop in and meet the team. They're helping local businesses, nonprofits, and families prosper. And yes, their president serves. That's John Sisk. Thanks, John, for sponsoring the show. That's lighthousebank.net. Neil TC with VC in the house tonight.
Woo.
Right back. This very short break. Don't go away.
This is Dr. Williams and Ante. I'm Stanford trained. I'm the only child neurologist in Santa Cruz. We specialize in treating concussion, autism, ADHD, depression, anxiety. We do a great job with migraine headaches. We have the only hyperbaric oxygen chambers here in Santa Cruz available to treat many of these different issues without medication, just oxygen. And we've had great successes with our local community. Go to zinnantimd.com and write questions into our forum if you are wondering if we have something that could help you. We're located at 550 Water Street, Building I, Suite 4. We accept many insurances, and you can reach our office at 831-600-7697. I became a neurologist because I have a son with autism, and I have lived through what you might be experiencing. We're here to help.
This is Brother Timmy,
And Cleo from Cleo's Corner at Pono Hawaiian Grill.
featuring wraps, teriyaki bowls, plate lunches, amazing and creative salads, vegetarian and gluten-free options, and over 20 different types of poke, all made to order, fast, fresh, and healthy. And what's your favorite, Khalil?
The chicken fingers.
Located at 120 Union Street in downtown Santa Cruz. Call us for takeout at 831-426-PONO, or check us out on the web at ponohawaiiangrill.com. We put the ono in Pono. Yee-hoo.
And we're back with the Off the Net Radio Show right here. This portion of the show is brought to you by the Britannia Arms, right in the heart of Capitola Village. Enjoy the feel of a traditional English pub. Traditional English food. Oh, man, I love my...
Great English food is
Great
what you
English
always say.
food.
Yeah.
Shepherd's pie.
Mm-hmm.
Is that where we're going afterwards?
No, we're going to Star Benny afterwards. It's Italian night tonight.
Italian
Fridays,
night.
yeah.
Bon
Because you get to do karaoke down there, TC. I've been working on my karaoke skills.
You have?
Yeah.
Oh, dude, I got a voice.
That's because
Oh no, you did the. You are Gary. No, you are Gary Busey.
No, I can sing too.
Can you give us a bar?
From what? Van Halen or something?
Okay, van anybody. I don't care.
Oh.
Yeah. Well, actually, speaking of music and singing and stuff.
Can I finish this ad real
Sure,
quick?
sure, sure.
The Britannia Arms. Try their British breakfast, TC. Bangers, ham, baked beans, and toast. That is a nap breakfast. Once you have that, you're gonna go right back to bed.
And you can check out the surf at that Tola too.
At Capitola.
Yeah.
That's the Britannia Arms right down there in the heart of Capitola. And also this portion. You know what? I'm
And you
gonna
know
read
what
this-
else
I'm going to read
too?
this later.
Locally owned.
Locally owned. Thanks, Andy. Also, this portion of the show is brought to you by Good Night Santa Cruz, a children's book written by local author Roxanne Sher Olson, Olson. It's a very cool kids book to buy for Christmas. Go to www.roxanneolson.com. Or you can find it on Amazon, Bookshop Santa Cruz, or Steamer Lane Supply.
She came here and read the book last week.
She was very
I
good.
read that. You know, I actually read it. It's fantastic.
It's a great book.
Yeah.
Okay, VC, what are you going to do? Vincent Van Halen?
No, I was thinking to segue from that is
In-
Cowboy
Yes?
was in a band called Bug.
Oh yeah, Bug.
Yeah.
They played a couple of my parties.
Oh yeah, yes.
Yeah,
And he was
yeah.
he was a good guitar player.
Yeah.
You know, and
Wow, that's a blast from the past. I
Totally.
forgot all about Bug.
yeah. He used to wear this mullet, the big blonde wig.
Yep.
Hilarious.
Like a metal wig.
Oh, yeah, completely.
Yeah.
No, he was a.
It's really sad for the community to lose Cowboy. You loved him or hated him. You know what I mean? Like it's a fixture of Half Moon Bay.
Even if you hated him, you loved him.
Yeah, you had to, right?
Yeah.
I bet every surfer in Northern California got yelled at by Cowboy when they were younger. Just one of the things that happened.
No, I didn't hate him Michelle Soros.
Marcel?
Marcel, rather, yeah.
He yelled at Marcel, too. I'm sure of it.
I yelled at Marcel.
Yeah, for sure Cowboy yelled at Marcel.
He still needs to be yelled at.
But, it's just sad because, Vince, you just said it happened fast, like in a month or so after you got diagnosed.
It was really, it's a two-edged sword. Do you want to know or don't you want to know?
Right.
And he didn't want anybody else to know. He told, his girlfriend, Lucy, and a few of his closer friends that he didn't want to let it out.
Did he have cancer?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
40 years, we just said, 40 years he had that shop up on Highway 1 in Half Moon Bay. And
same sign.
Same spot, same sign. I mean, that is really a testament to what Cowboy was,
Yeah.
You don't stay in business 40 years if you're a bad person.
Right.
You know, so it's a sad loss. And it's good that we're dedicating this show to him.
Yeah.
I think that's very appropriate.
You know how we acquired that name?
No, I'm interested to know.
Okay. He used to work at the stables. The south of Half Moon Bay?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. He used to work there, and he used to ride his horse up to the jetty to go surfing.
There you
And
have
that's
it.
so they nicknamed him Cowboy.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's a cool way to go surf, like there.
Yeah.
Oh.
I could just see him. He was like Fabio riding his horse up the beach.
Hey, he's rolling around or doing something. He's mad about that one.
I know, right?
You're gonna get it now.
Okay, we're gonna turn this around and go to Barney.
Okay.
Okay, talk about Barney for a second.
Okay.
Barney's paddle out was obviously an epic event.
So amazing.
What you built? Tell the audience what you built.
Well, I was looking at his name, Baron, and I looked it up on the internet. Found that he was from Scandinavian descent, and I happened to be watching a show about Vikings after he had passed, and I was just kind of in a daze, and I just looked up and I see these guys, and they're doing a Viking funeral boat. They're saying goodbye to their buddy, and they push him out in the boat, and they light the thing on fire, and I'm going, wow, that's a proper burial.
Right.
He's going to Valhalla. They loaded the boat up with all the stuff he's going to need in his next life, which we did too. It's my unmentionables, but yeah. And when we were on the beach putting his ashes in the boat, I grabbed a chip of a bone, and I carry that with me everywhere I go. It's in my truck at all times, and it's inspirational to me when I think that if I'm woe is me or anything like that, which I try not to do, but everybody gets in those little moods, and I just have to reach in and grab that out, and just if you can do it,
Right. You get energy from that.
Oh yeah, it's like listening to a good song, and then you listen to a good song, and if you grab the bone,
Right.
ask my girl, and it's a great thing.
I'll tell you, that day that of Barney's paddle out, when you lit that Viking ship replica on fire, and it was drifting off, I will never forget that for the rest of my life.
No, it burned perfectly. I couldn't.
It was unbelievable.
It was like they couldn't have done a computer rendition or whatever and done special effects to make it look any better.
Yeah.
It burned perfectly from the top down to the bottom, all the way to the water line, and then finally went in. It took like a half hour.
It took a long time. People turned around and left because Neil and I went on my boat and we anchored the boat out there, and everybody paddled away. And what was amazing, and again I will never forget, Flea stayed.
Yeah,
Flea sat there for a long time, and he was by himself, and he watched until the last flame went out.
Yeah.
And it was an incredibly moving time in this town's surfing history. It was amazing.
Yeah,
and
it was.
You created that, and it was so symbolic. What a send-off, for Barney. It was awesome.
Proper.
Yeah,
for sure.
It was awesome.
Cece.
Yeah.
Give him the question we ask the older
the seasoned
the seasoned athletes, the seasoned elite. Would you mind giving him the
crusty
the crusty folks?
It's
that
funny
come on
when
the
you
show.
become a carp, right? It's amazing.
Could you give him the
well,
question?
we do ask this to our seasoned guests. Well, we may have asked you this question last time you were here, but we always ask what your favorite decade was and why.
Right now, because I'm alive.
And we get that answer a lot.
But if I could go and stay in one time period, probably 16 or 17 years old. You know, I was on fire. You know, could do no wrong. Everything was great. Everything fell in place. You know, it was
Right.
just like
Simple.
and
New
just,
surfboard, new wetsuit, and you're happy.
well, not quite, but every good wave, then I'm happy. then I was happy.
We had that show recently where that kid was ingested that spice, that drug that killed him.
Right.
When did that, when you were 16, 17 years old, and I think it was alive for you, when did things go dark? I'm just thinking about the Westsiders movie, of course. That's all I know. I don't know much about that, but when did things go dark for you? Would you have changed that part of your life? Or
No, not even.
No.
No.
When did that happen?
You know, it happened in and out over my whole life, pretty much. And you can't just ride a high forever. I mean, you definitely have your lows and peaks, and so it was an ongoing kind of a thing. You know, sometimes you realize what you've done isn't the best thing that you should have done.
Right.
But at the other times, it sure was fun.
Right.
But you know,
Did your friends stick with you? Or did you lose some along the way?
as far as what?
That's just, your friends like
Oh yeah, I've lost quite a few friends, and you know, there was a lot of them due to drug abuse, and there was times when I went sober and was totally against drugs, but you know, it's kind of like back then it was like, you know, sticking your thumb in a dike. You're just not going to be able to hold back the avalanche of that, and that's goes to, you know, say all over the place even to this day.
Yeah.
My wife and I talked about this today, and the difference back then, there was just no rules. You know, it was you guys could just get away with murder back then. You know what I mean? It was different, and it was a different time period.
No.
But it was just different back then. You know,
No.
it wasn't there wasn't like surveillance cameras, cell phones,
Oh.
lawyers. You know, like
No,
Vince got in some scuffles at the lane.
Scuffles?
Yeah, Vince got in some scuffles.
You make it. That's
You
what
can't do that
didn't hit
these
anybody.
days. You know, it's a
TC.
different
He did
world.
not hit anybody with a pillow. That's a scuffle.
But you know what I'm saying?
no,
It-
exactly.
It's totally
I mean,
different.
I got to run away from the cops. I wasn't on camera, so they just waited for everything to come back and go, hey, well, here it is. You can't argue with that.
right.
But yeah, it was definitely on the loose,
Right.
for sure.
Because I bet, like, back then, you put somebody in their place. They didn't say to you, "I'm gonna sue you, Vince."
Well, no, they had to come back and surf for the rest of the year or whatever.
Yeah, but
I'm not going anywhere.
And that's what you hear now on the water. I'm gonna sue you.
I'm gonna go through some fun stuff, but I do want to ask you, what was your darkest moment? That kind of, this was, now you're looking back at it, that was my darkest moment.
Boy. Probably the period of time when my dad and my sister died the same year,
What year
That-
was that?
2001.
Yeah.
And yeah, that was definitely,
Did you have anybody to talk to about that, or did you just kind of
no, I got numbed up on drugs.
Right.
So I wasn't really venting or,
you
grieving.
just shut down?
Not shut down. I just was less like focused on stuff that would take me out of reality.
Were you close to your dad?
Very close.
And
Very
your
close.
sister?
Very close. She was my best friend.
Yeah.
That's sad.
Yeah, it's sad, but I mean, anytime you lose something in life, people look at their glass half full or half empty. And I figure, lucky to have had it
Yeah.
at any point for any amount of time. If you got to experience it, it was a good thing.
Yeah.
Don't look at you like you're getting denied because you didn't keep it for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
You're
You got-
lucky to have had it for 15 minutes, whatever it is.
You're lucky to have that. You're lucky to have that relationship with your father and your sister
Oh, and my mother too.
and your mom.
Yeah.
And they all lived here, right?
Yep. Big family, 7 kids.
I didn't know
eight,
that.
8 kids, yeah.
8 kids in your family?
We're not Catholic.
Wow.
Yeah. 4 girls, 4 boys.
Wow. Well, I remember your sister well. She was awesome
Yeah,
and a big part of the surf community.
totally.
Yeah.
She was, Flea and all those guys' big sister.
Yeah. And at the time married to Matt Makuta.
Yep, I just saw
And-
him the other day.
Yeah, and it was, and so when she got sick, it was a big deal back then.
Yeah, and people were afraid to approach her and stuff because she was such a good person that, she wouldn't want that. It was like she didn't burden anybody with what was going on in her life. at all,
Right.
up to the very end, which was good.
You've been in Santa Cruz for a long time. How do you feel about the town as it is today? Still enjoy it? I see you out in the wharf early in the morning, or at the lane very early in the morning.
Yeah, obviously. I try not to get too caught up in the landlubber stuff. You know, as long as the ocean is there, it's been what it's done for me my whole life. Is took me away from all the problems of the land and just focused on the ocean. And, you know, when you're out there, who cares what's going on, really?
Yeah, no, it changes that. And I haven't seen you tow your boat around lately. You still got your boat?
Yeah, I do. I just had to get a newer low end and put in it.
Because you were fishing a lot.
Yeah. Well, last year for me wasn't that good of a season. I heard it wasn't that good all around.
Yeah, no, it wasn't.
No.
Yeah.
So
if you were to wake up tomorrow morning and get to see one surfer surf, who would that be?
me on my best day. No. Let's see. Gosh, that's a hard one. I would probably think somebody like Barry Kanayapuni or Michael Ho, something like that, because that's the images that I retained from my younger years as we're going to the surf movies and seeing this Hawaii was just like, whoa, okay, that's the epicenter, it's the end all, you know? And so those images stick to my mind, especially the one where it's a Jimi Hendrix, the one, you know, it's the beginning of a surf movie and it shows Barry Kanayapuni doing an airdrop at Sunset Beach, no cord on a big red pintail. And it was just like, that was it. I mean, that was what I was striving for.
Well, you are a huge reason why the Hawaiians respect Santa Cruz surfers. Is you and Richie went over there and basically busted the doors down on the North Shore.
Well, I got given a key. My friend Black Kalinowski was from the North Shore. He was in 5 Summer Stories. They show him doing some Howleys Go Home and all this stuff. But I got to know him very well. And when I was going to Australia, he just came up to me out of the blue and goes, look, I want you to go and tell my friend Michael Ho I said hi. And at the time, I didn't understand what he was doing for me. He was opening that door for me. So when I approached Michael in Australia, said, look, my friend Black told me to say hi. He just, bam, it was on then.
Yeah.
And so
you were given the golden ticket.
yeah, and then plus I jumped in on a couple fights with the Australians on the behalf of the Hawaiians. It was right after the big thing with Ian and PT and those guys. They wouldn't let him go surfing. So it's that year when the new season started, the Australians were waiting for the Hawaiians in force, like as soon as they got there. So I mean, it was great.
There was a lot of controversy on North Shore during that time.
Oh yeah,
Black shorts, everybody was like, it was a very powerful time.
yeah.
And you got the welcome.
Oh yeah,
Is that the same time that you went to Bell's?
yes.
Can we talk about that when we come back from commercial?
Absolutely.
Talk
No,
about
no
bells.
commercials.
No commercials. This portion show is brought to you by TC. Go ahead and talk about your buddy Jeff Winterholder.
Are you kidding me? Jeff's awesome. Well, if you want a truck, a van, good gas mileage car, Jeff's the guy to hook you
If
up.
you want a
down there.
Ford.
North Bay Ford, right? He ordered my van. You know, my van that I bought from North Bay Ford, very difficult purchase,
Right.
very technical. You know, I wanted a very specific van. We ordered it. He did it perfectly.
And every truck or car he sells, he's giving $100 to the J. Moriarty Foundation.
That's fantastic. Good
Portion
reason.
Show, yeah. Portion show is brought to you by People's Coffee. Our friend Curtis over here at 17th and Bromer.
Are we going to give away some coffee tonight?
Let's do that.
All right.
Who wants free coffee?
Me.
Caller number, let's not drive Chris nuts. Caller number 2 gets 20, is it 20 or 25 bucks? I don't know.
Let's do 25. It's Christmas.
$25. 831-479-1080. Get you $25 worth of free coffee. Caller number 2. People's Coffee right there on 17th Bromer. Great staff. Curtis is a great guy.
Great croissants.
They have good croissants. Yeah, a little ham and cheese. It's really tasty. This is Neil TC with VC. Be right back. After this very short break, don't go away.
This is Indra from Surf City Sandwich. We offer the finest handcrafted sandwiches in the county. Our motto, Go Fresh or Go Home, means we take the quality of our food very seriously. Fresh local bread and produce is delivered to us each day, so you can be sure you are eating the best tasting and best for you food around. Try out our new items like the pork belly banh mi, Noni's pesto chicken, and the Southwest vegan wrap. We also have a micro tap room with 8 rotating taps featuring the top local brewers in Santa Cruz. Located at the north end of 41st Avenue in the SoCal Tower Plaza. Call us for takeout at 346-6952 and check out our website for online ordering at surfcitysandwich.com.
Hi, this is Steve Pereira, the beach guy at Bailey Properties in Santa Cruz. We've been selling beach homes along the coast since 1982, and we'd love to help you. Remember, nobody knows the turf near the surf better. Give us a call, and we'd be happy to show you some beach homes. 831-818-7064. Give my wife Diane a call or myself at 831-818-7064, and we'll be happy to get you started.
And we're back with the second to last segment of the Off the Lip Radio Show. I want to give a big shout out to our friend Chris Burdish, friend of the show.
Is he paddling right now?
2010 Mavericks winner when he caught that 50-footer.
Yeah.
Yes, he is currently just left like 12 hours ago and stand-up paddleboarding. Wait for it. Across the Atlantic Ocean.
Hold it and wait for this.
What?
By himself.
Solo.
Solo, he's
Well, they
paddling.
never said big wave surfers had any brains.
I mean,
Dude,
that...
Good luck, man. I'm
Yeah.
telling you.
And
And
that
it's for,
luck
you know
is
what,
right.
though? It's for a good cause. It's all for kids. He's raising millions of dollars for kids
Good
that need
reason.
it.
Yeah.
So, you know
He'll
what?
be
We can make
successful
fun.
then. He'll
and
be
you know
successful.
what? I hope so, because he's a great guy.
I just hope he survives this.
I hope so, too.
Well, they don't
Do you
got a
know?
follow boat. They must
No,
You know-
no follow boat at all.
No, nothing.
No.
It's a special. He has a special stand-up paddleboard.
He can sleep inside it.
self-contained and blah,
Yeah.
blah, blah. Electronics.
have. This
and God
time of
knows whatever.
year,
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, if you want to follow Chris, you go to thesupsgpcrossing.com.
I'm
And
gonna
you can
follow
follow.
that.
You can track it.
how is he keeping in contact? He's got
He's
got
got,
all
a
the-
radio.
he's got all the
He's got a
gadgetry.
satellite radio.
Got all
He's
the-
got a
You
water.
better have
He's got
some
a
boats in
water
close
maker.
proximity.
He's probably just eating a protein bar a day or something.
He's paddling a marathon a day.
I'd put a lure out and then fish the whole way across.
That is.
Well, you don't have any trouble catching anything there.
I'm sure.
There's
yeah.
plenty of sharks.
We talking bells now with VC?
Yeah.
Well, it's the. Well, yeah. Let's talk about Bells. What year was Bells?
81.
81. And how did you end up in that contest?
I got 9th overall.
Now,
That
how
was-
did you get to Australia for that?
I actually got sponsored by Westside Surf Shop.
Right there by Cow's Beach.
Yes.
Hmm.
But
And they helped you get there.
yeah, he gave me quite a bit of money to go and travel the circus. I got invites to all the contests. Actually, Bill Bowman invited me and Richard over there. Even though we didn't do well in the Stubbies contest down here, he liked us so much that he could go ahead and give us a place in the in the trials at least. And but down at Bell's, I surfed the Quicksilver Trials, which was 160 guys, and then the top 16 after that.
Wow.
So I got 4th in the trials and then got 9th in the contest.
In your recollections, that one of your best? I mean, that's a huge contest finish, but was that like
Oh yeah,
the
that was
peak of Vince Collier's contest surfing?
Yeah, just because of the size of the waves. It was the biggest contest ever held outside of Hawaii.
It was pumping. Did
Oh, it
MR
was-
win that? Who won that?
No, Simon Anderson. on the
that's
thruster.
right. On the thruster. That's
Yeah.
right. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was big bells. It
Yeah.
was.
Yeah.
And that put Simon on
almost
the
came
map.
on the show, remember?
Yeah, we
I'm
just
gonna
missed
get it.
him. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, well, I mean, look at Simon Anderson changed surfing, hands down. Probably more so than any other person
And Wayne
on
Lynch?
this planet. Well, Wayne
Yeah.
Lynch. Simon put 3 fins on the surfboard, and the rest was history.
Again.
Yeah, right. Well, of course. but you know, he made it so that it was conventional.
Well, he had the style that really complemented the 3 fins. It was he wasn't a little guy, big guy, and so he needed that grip and that hold that the 3 fin gives you and the drive. And it just his surfing exploded with that. You know, he wasn't dragged down by a
And
single
what an
fin.
incredible time in surfing too, because you had MR and Simon, and Simon just on that 3 fin
Yeah, Sean.
took him down. It was insane.
Right.
Sean was on a single fin.
Oh, that's right.
He came onto the game late.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
we had good. Bells was incredible. Winky Pop is a better wave than Bells.
that's down the beach, right?
Yeah, it's the next section down.
Mhm.
But yeah, Winky Pop's is just like this rifle.
Have you been
Go
back since then?
No, wait. I don't know.
How about Jeffries? You surf Jeffries?
Yes.
Enjoy that wave?
Yes, immensely. I surfed there with, who was it? Wayne Shaw
Yeah.
and Hans Heiberman and Michael Ho. And we went up there. We were in Durban, and we drove down there, I should say, and surfed it. But it wasn't that good. It wasn't that good when the conditions weren't that great.
Do you want to talk about the movie that Westsiders movie? You want to rehash that for just 2 seconds, or is it kind of like, eh?
I'm kind of over it. I don't know if you're over it or not, Vince, but
I was over it the first time I saw it.
I remember that.
Honestly, we all know the story.
I remember seeing him outside the movie theater when it was played. That was it. Not the Rio. It played at the Del Mar, I think. I saw him coming out of there. I'm like, that's I didn't know you at the time. I'm like, there's a guy who didn't like what he just saw on the movie screen.
No, I didn't like it when we went to the premiere down south. It was a really big deal down there.
Yeah.
I was just like looking at the big screen going, holy moly, what did I do?
Well, and
But I mean, I'm not ashamed of anything.
No, of course, you can't be ashamed of it. It is what it is. But at that time, you were still partying, and
totally.
You were on a bad one,
totally,
and it's represented in the movie, and that's what happened. But I just feel like the premise of that movie's done, and I think that there was some.
There's a whole lot more.
Yeah.
If
than that.
Would you have Gary Busey be you in the Vince Collier story, the new movie coming out by Hollywood?
No.
I think VC should be Gary Busey in a movie, personally.
Can we plug our own show? Yeah, he played Gary. Now, let's touch base on that. We did the Point Break live show where the Point Break live show came to studio, and we had a whole bunch of surfers do read the lines from Point Break Live, which is Point Break, which is the worst movie ever.
Vince's rendition of Gary Busey is one of the top 10 moments of our 200 shows.
No, it's
for
top
sure.
5 moments.
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna when we do
surfers.
Yeah,
you remember that?
Surfers.
Yeah.
I mean, anybody listening,
dude, you were into it.
Yeah, well, I'm a ham.
Yeah, you were into it.
The best we've done that 3 times, and we've had an amazing group of surfers participate. Vince held it down better than anybody. Yeah. You're a natural.
Oh,
he's a lifesaver too. Saved that lady. You saved that woman on Westcliff.
Yeah, that was quite of a little event, and it was just what was it in '81? We rescued. Me and Bud Miller went out and rescued these guys off of Mitchell's Cove after dark when it was about 10 feet. The fire department showed up and they had their spotlights out, and you could just see whitewater. And I knew the fire chief and went up to him. We had a couple beers at the wharf, and I saw these flashing lights down my Westcliff. And I go, okay, let's go check it out. So we got there, and the guy goes, well, I go, they're not there anymore. They're long gone. And I go, well, I'll go get them. And he goes, no, we can't, authorize that or give you, permission. I go, what other choice do you have? He goes, well, the Coast Guard cutter's coming from Monterey. It'll be here in an hour. I go, in an hour? Those guys are going to be fish food.
Yeah.
So we jumped off in front of my house and went out and got them, brought them in. And I didn't really think anything of it. It seemed easy then. But the further away I've gotten from it, it seems like a pretty unbelievable thing. I don't know if there's anybody ever that would do that.
Right.
Why was it so?
It's pitch black.
Right.
10 feet.
Yeah. Pumping in pitch black.
No,
that's the classic example of the rescuer dying.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
But
that lady on Westcliff just a year and a half ago or something.
Yeah, it was not short.
It was during those king tides, right? And
yeah.
I saw this thing about the pole poking, so I go, I'm gonna go do that. And I go to the lane. I go, I'm just gonna go up here a little bit further. And I was almost stopped at a couple different places, and I ended up going to John Street, and I'm down there, and I hear this what I thought was a sea otter screaming. I go, oh, that doesn't sound like a sea otter. And then I goes, some kids are messing with me, man. I'm going to go find those little brats, and so I'm trenching through the water, and I come up onto a shelf below Swift Street, and there's this lady just busted up, screaming for help. And I ran back up to the cliff, up to the top of the cliff, and you couldn't hear her 20 feet away from her because the surf was coming in.
Yeah.
You couldn't hear her screaming at all. So I was just really fortunate. Really fortunate.
And you got 911, got her out.
Yeah.
She survived.
Yeah, she
did
survived.
Did you see her?
Yes, I did. A year later, she came and thanked me.
Wow.
Which was really great.
That's nice.
Yeah.
We got Nick on the phone. Nick, you there?
Yeah. Gonna be a call, enjoying the stories. When you talk about the lane and stuff and the heavy things that went down, it just was in sync with what was going on.
Okay.
I mean, sometimes there's a war, but the lane, not so long ago was just to smell like a pedophile place. It was such a sewer. And you were talking about Mitchell's Cove, and isn't that the outlet? I mean, that's heavy. So I've been to Catholic school, and I smelled those priests. I know what pedophiles smells like. And it was those priests, man.
Man, you're not kidding.
Thanks, Nick, for calling. We
Yeah,
appreciate
Nick,
it.
thanks.
That was Nick right there.
Well, Nick, he's got his own opinion.
Well,
So do you.
Yeah.
His is just different to yours.
It was
That's
kind of
very true, very true.
right, but it was kind of the sign of the times back then. It was a little bit more Wild West, and
Well,
we
yeah,
talked about it.
It had to be. I mean, when I was growing up, if you weren't trying to, you had to be brash. Except for the other side of the coin is there. You look at Richard. He never, he'll wait his turn, and for sure he's getting the best wave.
The quiet giant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was perfectly.
Well, I was saying earlier, the difference is God forbid anyone dropped in front of VC back then. But if he did
you
maybe
choose
Vince. No, hell no. I looked the other way and would bird watch or something. But maybe Vince shoots his board at him or something. Like the typical Wild West things that happen.
Totally.
Well, nowadays there's 4 people on the cliff with their cell phones filming you do that. No one filmed VC shoot his board at somebody back then.
There's a lot of accidents that happen with the lane now. I think.
Of course.
Get caught inside and then somebody's behind you. Boards do what they'll do in the whitewater.
Right. No, but for sure. So it's just a different time, and so it's different. But when it was the time, JT, Vince, there was a few guys who just held it down. They were the top of the pecking order. And that will go down in the history books because right now
it's a big piece.
It's different.
It's a big piece of the Santa Cruz jigsaw puzzle.
Well, and
for sure,
just a big
right?
piece.
It is a big piece, and
people are afraid to talk about it.
And
you know when we get a couple of years ago when we get a company like the Surf Channel who wants to come and be a part of our show, it's not because of you and ITC. It's because of guys like this,
of course,
who made Santa Cruz surf culture what it is today.
And I want to go back to what Vince was saying about getting into the North Shore. He went there and he went to Mike Ho and said, "Hey, my friend Black says I want to say hi." Well, the same thing happened at the lane during the same time.
Right.
And there's a whole generations of surfers that Vince kind of took under his wing and gave them the golden ticket to go surf along Westcliff Drive. You did that to a bunch of guys, and they won't admit to it.
Well, I'll tell you what. If you look at it right now, under me and Richard, world champions, Rat Boy, Flea,
right,
Barney, Peter Mell, Adam Rapogle. There's a whole list of guys. Since that, there's really only Nick Lamb and Nat Young.
Right.
Really.
Right.
There's not really any kind of a vanguard, taking and we've got enough waves and we've just world-class surfing. There should be a whole bunch of really good world-class surfers.
Do you look at yourself as a mentor to those guys back then?
No, I didn't back then. I was just off the cuff.
Well, it's there's a long list of people that I think you showed them the ropes, and that's what made you laid the kind of the groundwork for what made the West Side so great.
Well, I think it had to do with, after they dealt with me, everybody else seemed way easy. They just came off easy.
Yeah, for
TC,
sure.
That's VC. I'm Neil. We'll be right back after this very short break. Don't go away.
Hey, it's Fran from Steamer Lane Supply, a new snack stop.
Good morning, Santa Cruz. Hi, it's Julie from Toyota Santa Cruz. And I understand that you guys are sick of my ad. Well, guess what? So am I. So they drugged me down here to make a new one. And I'm supposed to tell you how great our dealership is. Why? Because it is. We're selling cars like crazy. New Tacoma, the 4Runner. We have over 500 new cars in stock. What else do you want me to tell them? How cute I look right now? We are the proud sponsors of Off the Lip. We've been their sponsors since day one. We appreciate all the business from the skateboard and surf community in Santa Cruz, and I am always here for you guys. Anytime you need something, just come to the dealership. Ask for me. I'm in the fish tank on the showroom. Can't miss me. I'll make sure you get a sweet deal. My name is Julie Frigoli, General Sales Manager at Toyota of Santa Cruz. Highway 1 at 41st Avenue in Capitola.
Chill Out Cafe on 41st Avenue, Santa Cruz is not just a block from some of the world's best surf, but it is also where you can go relax and order the tastiest grub before and after your sesh. Plump burritos, fresh salads, sky-high sandwiches, and a superb selection of hot and cold drinks. They have something for you. Go to chilloutcafesantacruz.com to view their menu, and to place your order to go, call 831-477-0543. Chill Out Cafe, where they roll the fatties.
We are back with the Off That Radio Show. Too much posing, not enough surfing, Vince says. Do you think that's true?
I wouldn't say it if I didn't think it.
That's what you said, TC, at the beginning.
Right. He says exactly what he thinks.
Yeah, I think well, we're going to go right to the Mavericks contest.
Yeah, go right to it.
There's way too much BS going on, and the wave itself is getting lost in the mixture of red tape and, people trying to do whatever they're trying to do. I have no idea if it's lack of funds or lack of, leadership as far as the whole contest goes, because it switches every couple of years to a new sponsor. So, I mean, how can they establish themselves as a, long-running surf contest when every year it's something different, and they don't hold it on the best days? They haven't.
Right, because the best days maybe happen when they're not prepared for it.
Best days usually happen in the fall when the conditions are clean and it gets big. And granted, it gets bigger maybe sometimes later on in the winter, but it's usually with crummy conditions.
Right, afternoon winds.
Yeah, wait till March. Maybe we'll get lucky.
Mm-hmm.
And it's hacked, and it's ridiculous.
Would you be on the committee 5 if they asked you?
Sure, to lead it.
Yeah, but you mean do you think?
No, I think I would have some good ideas as far as getting back to the roots of the whole thing is letting the wave
Were you ever approached by him to be a part of it?
No, Jeff Clark wouldn't have nothing to do with me. Not to my face, but I mean behind closed doors, I'm sure no way.
Yeah.
Plus, with my eyes being bad, I know that they've got some judging positions they've given away to like Dave Schmidt and a couple other people. But I definitely would like to put my 2 cents worth in, if it's worth anything.
Right. If they asked you, hey, VC, do you want to help us out?
Oh, for sure, without a doubt.
Yeah, I have this theory that we can all sit here and bitch about the contest.
Yeah.
But I think sometimes in life it's better to try to fix things instead of bitch about it. You know what I mean? Like
right.
that's or support in some way.
Right.
But we don't really know what's going on
We
behind
don't.
those closed
Right.
doors.
Without the
we're
facts.
just speculating on it.
Right.
Well, we're not speculating about the fact they haven't held it, and there's been incredible conditions.
Right.
Epic. That's the bottom line.
Like 3 weeks ago, it was really good, right?
There was a string of days that were just epic. I mean, contestable without a doubt, and in pristine conditions. I mean, not a drop of water out of place. And there's just what's going on?
Nothing.
Inside the new Santa Cruz Waves.
Right. Nothing.
You see the Santa Cruz Waves has some amazing photos from this season already.
Oh.
Yeah, it just came out.
Oh, the magazine?
Yeah, the magazine just came out.
Well, it's been an amazing fall period.
Right.
Like one of the best ones I've ever seen, I think, for sure.
Yeah, we've had the most weather. I mean, October was the rainiest October in years, and and when there's storm patterns, there's swell.
Yeah, the door opened up, the window opened up early, and it stayed consistent.
You still shaping?
Yeah, actually, I just got a little shaping room in my backyard now. So I just shaped a board for Nate Acker.
You did?
You know what? I'm so proud of Nate's been around. Isn't Nate great?
No. He didn't surf for 6 years.
I know.
And I watched him paddle out to Stockton Avenue and rule the place immediately, right off the bat.
And we should have Nate on the show because
Nate
and Zach, again, a couple of guys that grew up under your tutelage.
Totally.
Some couple of guys you helped that just ripped. And we're at the forefront of the Santa Cruz aerial surfing.
Totally.
There's a lot of people we need to have on the show.
Nate moved to Sacramento. He's been away from town. He comes back all the time. He has kids.
I met him. He was at the Wharf there a few weeks ago.
Yeah, we were hanging out. Yeah, I just built him a board.
And his kids went to Richie's surf camp, and they had a great time.
We got a board. Me and him designed a new board. It's called the Drone.
Nice.
Okay.
Can somebody order a board from you?
Sure.
Can you give them going to give your phone number, or how do people contact you?
831-479-1465. No prank calls, because I got caller ID. Anybody feel free.
He's state of the art.
Well, that's good to hear you're shaping again. You've always made great surfboards.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, and so that's good to see that you're back in the shaping room.
And he's a guy that is he's really sharp. Nate's a sharp guy. He's got an incredible business that he does, And
We'd have to have him on the show.
Incredible family man.
Yeah, no, I'm so proud of Nate, and
No.
I'm really proud of him. I hope he's listening because he would, I'm sure, like to hear that from you too.
Yeah, I texted him about being on the show. So
VC,
cool.
Yes.
We're gonna have show. This is show number. This is your second time on here, or third time. This is VC, like just the sole interview number 1.
Yeah.
Him being here alone.
Right.
This was number 1. There's going to be 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. He's just warming up.
Well,
yeah,
you know,
exactly.
The thing about it is, we all know you have a book you could write of stories,
right?
And we'll get more of those out because we are trying to sort of, record the history.
We could choreograph it so it's timeline.
Right. Yeah.
So you don't get caught
Decade
up
by
in one
decade.
decade to another.
Like we do with Doug Howe, decade by decade.
Well, what people forget is VC was a mystery for a few years. You kind of left the area. You went up the coast and hung out in some of the secret spots up there and sort of disappeared for a bit.
You got to leave something if you really want to appreciate it sometimes.
Yeah.
And now you're back.
Yeah.
We're going to go to Star Benny. We're going to take VC to Star Benny.
We are.
Great Italian food.
Yes,
I think Sergio's back.
Is he back?
I think so.
Is he going to do a dance for us?
No. Chris Burdish, too. Good luck to you, pal.
Man.
Transatlantic Crossing. And don't forget, this show was dedicated to Cowboy.
Hey, Craig Cowboy MacArthur, a fixture of the North Coast, or I guess Half Moon Bay, and I greatly missed.
Yeah, without a doubt. Without a doubt. And one of my very best friends.
Thanks, VC, for coming on the show.
Hey, thanks for
Very
having me.
much appreciated.
Yep.
I want to thank Chris, the engineer. I want to thank the sponsors for sponsoring the show. I want to thank KSCO. And above all, I want to thank the listeners for listening. Really appreciate it. You can catch a podcast tomorrow on offthenetradio.com, or you can check it out on YouTube. Alternate Radio Show / Vince Collier.
What number was this?
192.
All right.
See you next week. Cheerio.
From Capitola to Carmel, Red Hot News Talk. AM 1080 KSCO Santa Cruz.